I'm going to talk about two other measures that I think will help in the fight against domestic violence. First, I've directed $20 million in 2004 to help communities create family justice centers where victims of domestic violence can find the services they need in one place, one central location. Too often, the services designed to help victims are uncoordinated and scattered throughout communities. Imagine what it would be like if you were an abused person trying to find help and you went from one place to another with laws and police and all the rules and regulations of a free society. It must be confusing and disheartening. The victim's been so traumatized, and then she has to tell her story over and over again, which repeats the trauma. There's a better way to do this. There's a better way to help people who need help in our society. San Diego figured it out. They've got a city attorney named Gwinn, who's right there, who recognized that there's a more compassionate way to help people who've been abused. And so he did something about it. He created what's called the San Diego Family Justice Center. It's a full-service center for domestic violence victims, where police officers and prosecutors and probation officers and civil attorneys and counselors and doctors and victims advocates and chaplains all come together to help somebody. The runaround is over in San Diego. There's a central location where somebody who desperately needs help can find compassion and help. Victims can pick up food vouchers. They can get help with transportation. They can file for a temporary restraining order against their abusers. They can sign up for supervised visitation programs to keep their children safe. They can get their cell phone there. They can find help. The San Diego Family Justice Center opened a year ago. It has already served thousands of victims. They tell me the story of Caitlin Efkin, who's a brave woman who lives in San Diego. It's probably, unfortunately, a typical story I'm about to tell you. What's atypical is that she found help in a brand new way of helping victims of domestic violence. Her boyfriend started hitting her. She tried to break up with him, and he began to stalk her. Of course, he was not only abusing her one way, he decided to abuse her another as well. And she went to the authorities and got a restraining order, which, as the experts will tell you, sometimes it works and sometimes it didn't, because in her case, the boyfriend continued to harass her, just wouldn't leave her alone. You can imagine the fear she felt. He pled guilty to charges, but he still stalked and haunted her mind. And then she discovered the center. They helped her get counseling. They got another restraining order. A victim's advocate joined her and her dad in court, where she got all the help she needed. I mean, I can imagine the relief that she must have felt when somebody who heard the call to love a neighbor did just that. The guy ended up behind bars, which is the right thing to do, and I congratulate the San Diego law enforcement officers. But more important, she got to remember what life was like without her misery. Those are her words, not mine. She found compassion. The funding I've set aside will help begin a national movement toward more of these centers. 12 will be funded through this initiative. When they work, there's another 12, and maybe even more. Maybe we can escalate the request. But the point is, we have found what can work in order to provide efficient help, to channel the compassion so somebody can get their life back together. So I want to thank you for coming, Casey. It's a good job. You're doing your duty as a public servant.